Okay, I've tightened everything up. As you can see, it's still, that's about 1/4 of an inch out right there. You can see it's still got a high spot. Once you tighten all your bolts down evenly, forcefully tap it a few times to get it in range. Because what you don't want to do here is you don't want to tighten the bolts up too tight, because then it'll warp the shape, and that's a little harder to fix. So hitting it a few times and then snugging the bolts up may be all that's required. So let's see if we can move this a little closer here. Okay, that's really pretty good. If it's going about 1,000 RPM and the wheel's balanced, that's probably not noticeable, but now at 2,000 or 3,000 RPM, that would be a problem. So okay, I've got these about as clean as I need them to do this, and basically this is the lightest point on the wheel. The wheel is settled into its position, so this is the light end, that's the heavy end. And what I'm going to do here is I have different size bolts, and these are going to act like counterweights, like a wheel balance on an automobile. I'm adding weight to the different points, and if I do this properly, I should only have to balance the one side, and it should bring it right in, because everything else is pretty uniform. So this should, you see it's rising up, so that much weight right there is not enough. You'll need a few more lag bolts, but I'm going to go ahead and put those in because I know they need to be on this wheel, on this side of the wheel. So as you can see, I put the first one in right here, and I'm going to try to stay as close to this point as I can. So what I'll do is I'll add one on the other side. The further you get from this point, the less the weight is going to have an effect. So try to keep it to the outside edge and make sure the bolt's not too long, then it'll go completely through. Now you're actually taking away material, which is going to, the bolt will compensate, but it's not as effective. You're taking some of the weight by drilling through it. You're eliminating some of the weight, so it just means more screws along the outside edge to get the weight right. I've added a couple more bolts here. We put the original 4 in there, and as you can see, it's getting real close. The weight of it has moved the heaviest point on the wheel, so it's no longer that point. See, it's moving around. Now what you want to do here to really find out where this point is, we're going to set this on the other side, and as you can see, it's still moving that direction, so quite a bit actually. So it's actually pretty close, so we need to distribute that weight on the top of the wheel, and because it wants to tend to go this way, we're going to add the weight this direction. That should help balance that out. So as we move this direction, we're still adding weight to the other side of the wheel, but we're compensating for this slide that's this direction. So basically, we want it to go this way, it means the wheel is almost balanced. But when it's this way, it still tends to come back up. So by adding on this side a few weights right here, we should be getting close. So you can see I put one there, and it now is really slow moving back up. Now, because I'm just sticking these to the top of the magnets, they're not really giving me a complete accurate gauge, because by moving them down here and putting them in this material, we're losing some of this weight that I'm applying to the outside edge. So, but that is really getting close there. You can see it'll almost stop. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to stop at any point that one of these magnets is on top. It's able to stop and stay there and not rock back and forth. Then the wheel is essentially balanced. So we're going to go ahead and mount these three, and hopefully we're real close to balancing this wheel. It took 7 of those lag bolts to balance this. You can see as I move it and let go of it, it stays. Looks like it's going to take a couple little small screws for a fine adjustment, but if you can see, it's just barely moving. So, and now at this point, there should be points on the wheel where it doesn't move. It should be stable. It's staying stationary when I let go of it, which means the wheel should be perfectly balanced. Now I might end up having to add one more bolt, because once I move that down to the edge, the weight is actually extended out. So the bolt is a little heavier being there than it'll be when it's mounted. So go ahead and mount that bolt, and we'll see how we are after that. The wheel is now balanced. I can move it around, stop it, let go, and it doesn't move, which means that it's balanced. And you have to move it around a few times and ensure there are no heavy spots. But it's basically it. It only took 8 lag bolts to balance it. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I'm going to mount it, make some fine adjustments, and bring it in the way it needs to be to finish up. But basically it's ready to mount on the cart motor.